Apparently I'm live. I am live. Oh my God, I am live on StreamYard, which I am trying out. I'm testing out for the first time. There it is, live from the Cavern. It's on the Oops Tubes. It's loading. Yay! It actually works. It's working. I need to mute YouTube though. It's on. This is cool. This is cool. This is better than using YouTube Live. It took me a couple of seconds to work it all out, but it's working, which is really good. One watching, which is me. Hello, me. And yeah, so like the reason I switched from YouTube Live to StreamYard to check using StreamYard is because it's easier to invite people on StreamYards than it is on YouTube Live, because I want to get other people to join in on the live from the caverns, which is the easiest way I can think of to do it, is to do it through this platform and not through YouTube, because YouTube's way of doing it is really, really fucking confusing. I've got the yellow light on today, not the purple light. It looks red, but it's not. It's yellow. So yeah, so this is literally just a test to see if this works and how well it works. It seems to be doing quite well. I don't know if the picture quality is as good on YouTube as it is on my iPad, which is what I'm streaming through, because the camera is a lot better on the iPad, unless, I don't know, if I can change the quality, picture quality? No, so the picture quality on YouTube only goes to 720p, which is annoying because the iPad has a 1080p camera. Matthew Guy, hello, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. I am, like I said in the video just then, well, like I said a couple of seconds ago, this is literally just a test to see how well StreamYards works on YouTube. But welcome, thank you for joining. Let's see what the audio is like. Is the audio better? To see how well StreamYards works. Yeah, audio is pretty good. So happy with that. Yeah, so I want to get more people to join the stream so we can have a discussion of certain movie topics, because yeah, audio is good. Thanks, Matthew. Good evening, John. So yeah, so I want to get more people on, because it's handy talking to the camera. It's easier when I record a video. I record a video by just looking at my phone, and I don't have a script or anything, so I just waffle. And what I enjoyed with the streams, the live streams, Smog237, hey mate, how you doing? What I've enjoyed with the lives is the interaction with people in the chat, which is really, really good, like answering questions and just having a chit chat. But I want to get someone on, or maybe multiple people on, so we can have a proper discussion about certain like aspects of film, whether it's like 80s movies, action movies, sci-fi movies and stuff. And so that's why I've moved from YouTube Live to StreamYards, because it just seems infinitely easier. So if you're joining this stream for the first time, my name is Pedro. Actually, my name is Pete, but I go by Pedro. Pedro is a nickname that I was given about 20 years ago, and it's stuck. And this is my movie cavern. My movies are there. Doesn't look like many, but believe me, there are thousands that aren't on display. Cheers for watching, and welcome to the stream. Yeah, thanks, Smog. 237. Yeah. I've been making YouTube videos. I've been making YouTube videos for about 14 years, but it's only in the last year that I have started to do it consistently. And I've been really enjoying it. It's fun coming up with ideas and just talking to the camera about movies. It's something that I really enjoy. And I can't, like, when I started it, it was more focus on physical media side of it, and I still do love the physical media side. I'm a movie collector. I collect movies, but I love talking about movies. I love just talking about the actual film and the behind the scenes and little trivia bits about the movies, which is what I did for years as a film reviewer. I would review movies and go through that. Matthew, you are absolutely welcome, mate. Thank you for the variety of DVD and Blu-ray recommendations. You are welcome, mate. I wish I could afford to buy every single new release, but times are hard. And they're getting more and more expensive. Jesus Christ. Like, I was looking through the new releases yesterday, and I saw that the Anime Limited, or All the Anime, it used to be Anime Limited, I think it's All the Anime now, were putting out Godzilla -1, and it was $16.99 for the standard Blu-ray, which is that's pretty good. I mean, it's a decent price. I would have paid $14.99 for Godzilla -1, but $16.99 it's okay. I was expecting the 4K to maybe be like $22, $24.99, but it's $29.99 for a 4K movie. We're getting into US territory now when it comes to pricing of Blu-rays and DVDs, specifically Blu-rays and 4Ks. I think the pricing is gonna put a lot of people off, specifically 4K, because I made a video a while back about whether or not it was financially viable for the future of physical media, the pricing of 4K, and I still reckon they're priced out. They're too high. You look at like the pricing on Criterion movies in the UK. The Criterion movie, they put quite a bit of work into it, but fucking hell, come on, like that's mental. That's like $29.99, $34.99, $49.99, $40.99. It's like Criterion. Like, Jesus Christ, mate. Come on. $14.99 to $29.99 Blu-ray Black Friday deals in the States. Matthew, I was literally checking the Black Friday deals in the States, and the pricing, like if you're paying for $14.99 to $20.99 for just regular standard Blu-ray in dollars, is actually pretty good. But like, some people were posting how good a deal was, that a film was now $47, and that's insane. No, $47 is still 30 something quid in the UK. G1, is that the Transformers movie? Oh no, the Godzilla 1 collector's set. Please tell me that's Godzilla 1, because I'm thinking of G1 as Generation 1 Transformers. But if that's the Godzilla 1 collector set and Steelbook coming, that is pretty good. Yeah, I'm reading it wrong. Godzilla -1. Yeah, I got you, John. Yeah, I got you. The collector's set and Steelbook coming from... Is that the Japanese release? Or is that the UK release? Godzilla -1, Godzilla -1. I'm just Googling it now. Collector's edition. Oh, is it the HMV online? Is it from HMV? Is it that one? Because if it's that one, that's a really nice set. But still, $66.99 it's too high. Because it's what, 4 discs. What's the discs? What are the discs? You get 64-page booklet, collector's packaging on disc Godzilla -1 and then minus color. And then you also have, it doesn't actually tell you what else is in there. Just, I'm assuming it's just special features, is it? And the Blu-ray. Bonus. So it's the 4K, the Blu-ray of the minus color, and then a bonus disc. Why can't they put the Blu-ray? I suppose it's going to be a high definition, isn't it? So why? So, John, are you buying 2 copies of Godzilla -1, the Steelbook and the collector's edition? Because that's mental, mate. That is mental. Because how much is the Steelbook? Another 30 quid for the Steelbook. That's fucking insane, mate. £100 nearly on Godzilla -1. I'm just going to watch it on Netflix until I can afford it. LHY, hello. Yes, I did see Casino Royale from 1954. Not technically a Bond film, it's a parody of the Bond movies. But yeah, it's fun. The Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Collection. 1 in 4 in one, 1 to 4 in one set. That's cool. Looney Tunes. I haven't watched Looney Tunes in years. Looney Tunes Collector's Choice. Which one is that? Is it the? Is that Warner Archives, Matthew? Is that from the Warner Archive release? So that's volume 1. Yeah. That's cool. No, the one before Dr. No, you mean the one from 67. Casino Royale. LHY, are you thinking of the one with David Niven as James Bond? Because which one was from 1954? Or was it like a TV version? Made for television, a bit like 1984 was. What's his name? Barry what? Barry Nelson. Barry Nelson. Oh, he was in The Shining. This is interesting. 1954. Was it part of like it was part of a TV show called Climax. It's an anthology series from 1954 to 1958. It was 166 episodes long and featured Casino Royale of James Bond fame. Well, that's pretty cool, but I don't think it's classed as canon. Like I didn't hear of the TV version either. Yeah, I don't like. They're just going to be milking the Bond collection for like they're going to do collector's sets of each like actor, so it's going to be flipping. It's going to be Connery, then they're going to do Roger Moore, then they're going to do Timothy Dalton, which will be like two. Well, they can't do a collector's set of Timothy Dalton. They'd have to do it, and George Lazenby. I think George Lazenby would have to be in be like the last film in the Connery box of 4K, and then you got Roger Moore, and then you'd have to put I don't know Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan in a box together, and then have a separate box for Daniel Craig. But yeah, they're just going to milk it until like they've released all the sets, and then they're going to release one big 4K set, and everyone's going to be like, "Ah, oh, crap." So yeah, I just don't see the point of. You might as well just wait. Like I've got the Blu-ray of, I've got the Bond collection on Blu-ray. Let me grab it. So I've got this. I've got the Bond collection, the James Bond collection on the Blu-ray, and this is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with it. Although they could have put some artwork on the actual Amarais. But yeah, I mean, this is perfectly fine. That was not me farting. That was this. I've got all the DVDs. Oh no, I don't have the DVDs. I sold them before I moved because I bought the collection. 6 Hybrid. Hello. Yes, exactly. And you're welcome that I cost you money. CEX is so good for picking up movies. Like, so good. Although sometimes their pricing is a little bit, just a little bit ridiculous. They seem to get their pricing wrong on a lot of things, specifically 4Ks and Blu-rays and boutique Blu-rays. So I went into CEX and they had a copy of It Came From Beneath the Sea, which is a film from the late 50s. I think it was late 50s or the mid 50s that had special effects by Ray Harryhausen. And I have the Powerhouse Stroke Indicator release on Blu-ray, and I paid $9.99 for it, and that was brand new. That wasn't secondhand. And when I went into CEX, they had the exact same copy, the standard release, not the limited edition, for $18.99. When that's secondhand as well. So when I checked on the Powerhouse website, they had It Came From Beneath the Sea for $9.99, brand new, or in a 3 for 30. No, was it 3 for 30? No, 3 for 20 offer. So they're just pricing themselves out of the market by doing that. But then, apart from HMV and a couple of FOPs in Scotland and maybe in London, I think, there are no like physical media retailers anymore. So CEX clearly have managed to find a market somewhere for that. Yeah, Vrostus, it does, mate. Stop motion is great. You look at the first Evil Dead movie, like the stop motion animation that they used in that is just gruesome, and it's plasticine. Like Harryhausen stuff is so good. I mean, yeah, there's something inherently creepy about the skeleton fight in Jason and the Argonauts, and the Kraken at the end of Clash of the Titans. But then Harryhausen was a master, wasn't he? He learned from Willis O'Brien. Yes. That's what I love. Like, I love, my favorite of the Evil Dead films is Army of Darkness, because it was the first Evil Dead film that I saw. And the reason I loved Army of Darkness so much was because it wasn't as much a horror film as it was a slapstick comedy with horror elements, but also a sort of homage to those like Ray Harryhausen films of the 60s, like Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger and Jason and the Argonauts and those type of movies. And that's what I loved it. But yeah, if you look at the stop motion that's in those horror films, like specifically the Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead, not Evil Dead 2, yeah, it always lends a unique level of horror. My phone's beepity beep 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 beep. Hang on, let me just answer this. Go to sleep. So yeah, yeah, there's something I just love. Old school animation is like, I'm a massive fan of 2D animation. I think Disney will. Yeah, I think like Disney just suck for just getting rid of their 2D animation department, and like you just don't see it anymore. Happy Thanksgiving, Matthew. Did not realize it was Thanksgiving. Sorry, people keep messaging me. Sorry. We do have a lot of sci-fi film. Do we have? We don't have a lot of sci-fi films these days, though. There's not enough science fiction films. There's comic book movies, which you could say were sci-fi films, but a lot of the sci-fi films that get exposure are very few and far between. There's a lot of smaller indie, like lower budget sci-fi stuff. There's one that's just come out now with Casey Affleck and Lawrence Fishburne in, which is a what was it? Slingshot, I think it's called. But yeah, I mean, there needs to be some more bigger budget, proper sci-fi movies. And I know a lot of people kind of think it's problematic, but the last decent, proper studio sci-fi movie was Passengers with Chris Pratt and like, this is space. I'm talking about space sci-fi movie now, not enough like sci-fi, because it was the Tomorrow War as well, which was Chris Pratt as well. So Chris Pratt just seems to make a lot of sci-fi movies these days, but not enough sci-fi after Star Wars. There was a lot of sci-fi after Star Wars. Everything tried to copy Star Wars, Matthew. It's how that Disney used to be dark, but now if something is overly inconsequential, too safe, we say it's Disney-like. Disney, so Disney's problem is that when they took chances on darker fantasy and animation, most of the time it failed. So, like, if you look at the 1980s, they did, what was it, like The Fox and the Hound and Oliver and Company, Basil the Great Mouse Detective. Like, they had sort of dark elements in them, but they weren't like classed as dark films. But the one film that they did do, which would be considered as dark, is Black Cauldron. And Black Cauldron, like, cost them a lot of money and almost bankrupt Disney because of how much they put into it. But then what they were trying to do was, because Don Bluth had come out with The Secret of Nim, which is a dark fantasy animated film. And because Don Bluth was a former animator at Disney, they had to sort of one-up it and put more money in to a dark fantasy animated film. And Black Cauldron completely flopped. It's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fantastic. Black Cauldron. I'd love to get a copy of it on Blu-ray, but I think the Blu-ray was only ever released through the Disney Club in the States. And I know it got a DVD release in the UK, but I've never seen it on Blu-ray. I think it's one of the only ones I don't have in my collection, because I've got all of the Disney films on Blu-ray up to Ralph Breaks the Internet. Pinocchio was dark. Like, if early days Pinocchio and what was it? If you look at like Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Pinocchio, and Snow White, they were dark-ish movies. They were dark movies. Pinocchio especially was a very dark movie, but then it's based on a very dark story. Return to Oz is great. But then that's Disney trying to copy what else came before it, which would have been Never Ending Story, which is a Warner Brothers movie. Like the wheelies in Return to Oz are fucking freaky as hell and so creepy. But when Disney tries to go dark, they can't do it, because no one wants to see a dark Disney film. So, which is why they always go with like light and fun musical shit. But like in the later end of the 2D era, like the late 90s, early 2000s, they got rid of the whole musical aspect, then came up with like Treasure Planet and Lilo and Stitch and Atlantis. Atlantis is a fucking great film, and it's hugely influenced by like Japanese animation and stuff. What else was there? Tarzan is another film that was like massively influenced by anime. So they had these influences, because I think at the time Dragon Slayer was dark. Oh, Shane, I gotta show you my prized possession. Dragon Slayer 4K. Oh my god, this film looks absolutely incredible on 4K. If you can get hold of this, get it, because it's fucking worth it. This is the US release by Paramount, but because it's 4K, it's region free. No, don't blame the parents. It's not parents who stopped the dark animation. It's Disney trying to go with the times. And the problem is that Disney has always been meant to be looked at as family friendly. So that's why you've got Mickey Mouse, and you've got the theme parks, and you've got these kid friendly animated films. And then you've got the stuff that they did for in the live action thing, like the Mighty Ducks and like the computer wore tennis shoes and the smartest man in the world, or whatever the thing was, the cat from outer space. Like, these are family friendly movies. But what they've seemed to have done now is they've kind of forgotten that they're a film studio, and think they're more of a ruling body, if you know what I mean. So like they have to appease everyone. What's the word for it? They have to cater to every single demographic, which is why they fucked Star Wars. I mean, they fucked Star Wars. They bought Star Wars, and then they fucked it. an adult puppet movie like Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds or Thundercats? I used to watch Thunderbirds as a kid, had all kinds of suspense. Would love to see an adult version with the quality of a Dune movie. Well, we did get an adult version. They did. They went. We'd never see it. We would never see an adult Thunderbirds movie because Thunderbirds is a kids show. But it did get a live action movie. It was directed by Jonathan Frakes, and it was crap. I had a theme song by the band Busted. Star Wars did go south under Disney. Star Wars has 2 good movies that they have released under Disney, and that would be the ones that aren't part of the Skywalker trilogy. Team America is fucking awesome. Yeah, Matthew, the best Star Wars films under Disney are Rogue One and Solo. And I say Solo because Solo's freaking amazing. It is such a good film. It's massively underrated. It's a good space western, how Star Wars should be. But yeah, Team America is amazing. Yeah. Solo, Rogue One. Solo and Rogue One. Solo's great. Honestly, I sing the praises of Solo. There's moments in it that aren't like amazing, like specific characters in Solo, like Emphas Ness is like, I'm not a fan of that character. I thought Dryden Voss was a little underwhelming as a villain. I think he could have been more menacing. And I thought that the twist at the end was put in place because they thought they were going to make a fortune, which unfortunately didn't happen. And we will probably never see a sequel to Solo. So we won't get any closure on the little cameo at the end of Solo. So we're not going to find out what happens there, which sucks because Solo is such a fun movie. Rogue One, just like, it's amazing. I haven't seen the YouTube video by Mike Verter on his New Hope restoration. I'm just bored of people doing restorations on Star Wars now. Everybody seems to do a restoration. Is he the one doing the 4Ks? Because I've got the declassified, well, not declassified, what they call it? Can't remember what it's called now. Yeah, the reason it flopped is not because it was a shit film. It was because it was released between... What was it released between? Deadpool 2 and Endgame? Avengers Endgame? Black Hole and its dark moments could have been a better movie. Shane, Dark Hole, like the Black Hole is crap. I rewatched it not that long ago. It's crap. It's all over the place. The VFX are shoddy. The acting is shoddy. I love Yvette Mimieux, who's in it. She played Rena in The Time Machine. I think she's a great actress. Well, she was an underrated actress, but yeah, it's a poor movie. And it could have been way, way better. But the thing is, it's a movie that was made, what, 1979? Or 1980? Was it 1979? Black Hole was made. And it looks like 1967 Star Trek episode instead of 1977 Star Wars clone. Fucking hell, Battlestar Galactica had better visual effects than that. That's cool if he's only doing A New Hope. I do have the edited down version of Kenobi, which runs for, I think it's 2.5 hours and cuts out all the guff. It's really good. I got it on my hard drive. Infinity War and Deadpool. Yeah, I knew it was one of the Avengers movies and Deadpool too. But yeah, that's why it flopped. It was literally right between it. Why release it then? I don't think Disney had any faith in it from the start, which is why they got rid of the previous directors and hired Ron Howard to direct the remainder of the film, which I believe was something like 85 to 90% of the film was shot by Ron Howard. I also think people legitimately get turned off seeing a solo movie that doesn't star Harrison Ford. Aiden Ehrenreich was great. Honestly, he was great. The thing is, you're never going to be able to capture Harrison Ford. That's why they can't make another Indiana Jones movie without Harrison Ford, because it's not going to work. It won't work. It's like, it's okay with like James Bond, because you can call it James Bond being a code name for a spy. Like, James Bond is not his name. His name is probably like Doug Smith, but he works for MI6. Therefore, he's given a alias of James Bond 007. And then with each like Bond, they get thanks, Sean. What's going on here, mate? Very turbulent production. Solo. Yes, Phil Lord and Chris Miller got booted off as it was too comedic. Ron Howard came in to rein it in as an epic space adventure rather than being too silly. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Doug Smith is 007. I don't know if they did. I just think like I don't know what happened with Solo. All I know is that it came out between two huge movies, and it was brought forward actually because it was not long after The Last Jedi had come out. So you had Last Jedi in December, and then I think it was literally like 4 months later, 4 or 5 months later, or maybe even less than that, maybe 3 months. I think it may have came out in March or April that it came out. So like it was so close to The Last Jedi coming out that, yeah, I think people were they weren't ready for another Star Wars film at the time. And I think that Star Wars is just, they released too much too quickly. So you had Force Awakens, which I really enjoy. I think The Force Awakens set up a really good plot that could have been explored better in the following hang on, sorry, I just banned someone. In the following films, like The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. But in The Last Jedi, they allowed Rian Johnson to do whatever the fuck he wanted and made one of the most, what's the word for it? Divisive Star Trek films. Not Star Trek, Star Wars films, sorry. One of the most divisive Star Trek films. I keep saying Star Trek, Star Wars films, where you either loved it or you hated it. I was in between. I thought there was moments that I wasn't really fussed on, and there was moments that I thought were really good. I thought the cinematography is the best looking Star Wars film. I believe that certain franchises, box office indestructibility, even the mightiest franchises, is susceptible to oversaturation. Yeah, Smoke, that's true. That is so true. Yeah, Disney thought that they were going to make money with Star Wars by completely forgetting what made Star Wars so popular and so beloved. And now they try to shoehorn in certain aspects of modern society and politics into TV show that was about space wizards and space cowboys and the excitement. Yeah, overexposure again. That's the same thing with the Marvel movies. The Marvel movies, like they did the same thing. Disney did the same thing with Marvel. They released three films a year plus multiple TV shows, and it became an oversaturation of the market. Hey, John Mooney. I loved the rebooted Battlestar Galactica. I thought it was fantastic. I did not like the end, though. I thought they ended it too quickly. It is very much different from the 80s original. Very much. It reminds me more of Space Above and Beyond, which is a show from the mid-90s, which was created by Glenn Morgan, who was a writer and producer for the X-Files. I think he went on to make the Final Destination movies, but Space Above and Beyond ran for one season, and it was about a group of pilots in a space war against a race of aliens known as the Trig. The Trig, I think they were called. But it was very cool. It literally lasted one season. It is available on DVD. But yeah, so Battlestar Galactica kind of reminded me of Space Above and Beyond, with a little bit of Starship Troopers thrown in as well. But yeah, I loved Battlestar Galactica. Stick with it if you haven't watched it before. I've got the entire series over there. I just love the idea of Doug Smith being 007 and a half coming to a cinema near you. Yes, Tour of Duty in space. Yeah. Oh, Fox just cancelled everything, Shane. Literally, they cancelled Space Above and Beyond. There was one show that was really good, and I was really into it, which was, what's it called? It had Lake Bell in it. I can't remember what it was called, though. It was about sea creatures. Oh, God. It's stuck in my head now, but I watched the entire series that got released on DVD, and I loved it, and then it just ended at like episode 15. I believe it's from like 2000 and Surface. There we go. Surface was really fucking good. That was a really good show. It's got 7.2 on IMDb, and it lasted for 15 episodes before it got cancelled. I think it was produced by Steven Spielberg. Another one that they cancelled was Firefly, Briscoe County Jr. with Bruce Campbell, and it was one that was created by Chris Carter, who created the X-Files, which starred Terry O'Quinn. Chris Carter. What was the name of that bloody show? It was, what was it called? Not The After or Millennium, because they actually let Millennium run. Harsh Realm, there we go. That was another show that got cancelled too quickly. Harsh Realm. It was 9 episodes. Sliders, Matthew. I love Sliders. I have the 4 seasons on DVD. I don't have them here. I have them at my house. I'm at the flat at the moment. And yes, I love Sliders. But Sliders again was one of those shows that when it changed from networks, it went from Fox to was it Fox? It might be CBS actually. It went from CBS to Sci-Fi Channel, and because it went to Sci-Fi Channel, Sci-Fi dropped the budget on the episodes, and it was because of that Jerry O'Connell and John Rhys-Davies decided to leave. Although John Rhys-Davies has been trying for years to get a reboot of Sliders off the ground following the original cast. So it would have been Professor Arturo, Rembrandt, Quinn, and Wade. But I don't know if the actress who played Wade would do it now. But yes, I love Sliders. Roger Daltrey is a very good villain in the midpoint. But then, yeah, they ruined it by adding the Cro-Mags and having Quinn have a brother and they could do, but I don't see the point. I think 4K is perfectly fine as it is. I mean, 4K. I was saying at the beginning that 4K Blu-rays are ridiculously overpriced. So you can imagine what an 8K Blu-ray is going to be. It's going to be ridiculous. I think what will happen is there'll be companies that will continue to produce a physical format, but I think what will happen is it'll go in circles. So at the moment you've got this sort of resurgence of VHS, and you've got these companies that are putting out VHS copies of modern horror films. I think what will happen then is that someone will then start on a DVD sort of revival, and then you'll get these DVDs that are getting released because of the nostalgia of the people who grew up with DVD, not VHS. Same with Blu-ray, same with 4K. I think what it'll do, it'll just cycle and cycle and cycle and cycle. I don't think 8K is really worth it. No, I don't know. I think 4K is probably the end game for physical media if companies continue to produce the physical copies. I can't see it going any higher than 8K rather than 4K because of the cost. I mean, it costs so much to scan and remaster a 4K scan, a film in 4K now compared to 1080p and stuff like that. So a lot of Blu-rays, specifically the boutique labels, would get what they call it. They would make new scans that would go. You could do a HD upgrade or a HD remaster, or then you do a 3K or a 2K scan for a HD upmaster remaster. Then you do a 4K scan for a 4K remaster. But each time it goes up, it gets more and more expensive. So I think because of the cost of how much it is to remaster and to remaster film negatives in 4K, I think the 4K will be the end point. I don't think we'll get any higher. There's some films that I don't think benefit from 4K because they're shot in 4K. So most of the newer movies are all shot in 4K anyway, 4K or 8K. And so they don't really benefit from watching a 4K remaster or a 4K master on a 4K TV because it's shot in 4K. If it's a film that is older and shot on film that has had a 4K remaster, then you will tend to see the difference. There's some films that like I said about Dragon Slayer. I have the DVD the UK Disney DVD of Dragon Slayer, and the aspect ratio is fucked. It's all over the place. It's not in the correct aspect ratio. But I saw this and I was just like, well, I'm going to buy that, and holy crap, the difference is insane. So yeah, that's why I think for certain films, especially older films, you will see a massive difference. But newer films, yeah, I mean, most of the films, like I said, that come out now are all filmed in 4K or 8K, or in some cases, some films are shot in 4K or 8K, 60 frames or 120 frames per second, which is stupid because it looks fucking awful. 8K is going to be hard for people to stream to, because there's going to be a lot of data being transferred from servers to a television via a internet cable, and that is going to be very, very hard for people to do. It's difficult for 4K on just a mid connection, but yeah, I don't think 8K is going to be a thing. If it is a thing, then we'll end up spending more money. We're not paying £4,000 for an 8K Blu-ray player and then £20,000 for an 8K TV. So that's fucking stupid. Or £200 for a high-level gold HDMI cable that can transfer up to 16K. It's just stupid. And then that means that aspect ratios are going to get bigger. TVs are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, we're up to, like, for consumer market, we're up to, what is it, 95 inches? I know you can get bigger through specific companies. I know Samsung do bigger screens. John, Lawrence of Arabia has some of the greatest cinematography ever. Like, ever. That film is a stunning example of what a camera and 70 millimeters of film on a full CinemaScope Panavision not non-digital analog film can pick up. It's incredibly good looking, that movie, and it's a great film anyway. Yeah, so like something like Lawrence of Arabia, if you watch that on a massive screen in 4K where everything's been remastered 100%, then something like that is going to benefit from that format, from that upscale or that remaster. But like I said, like I've got John Wick Chapter 4 on 4K. It was shot in 4K. I can't really tell the difference. I wouldn't know the difference between a 4K and a 1080p. 70 millimeter to 8K should be good, but when you have a 70 millimeter print that is transferring to 8K, it's gonna need a huge screen. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be back now. Nah, it's all right. My brother just came home. Hey, Johnny. You didn't get the YouTube motivation. YouTube is constantly on, and like it's always on in the background. We're just talking about the difference between 4K and 8K, and whether 8K is going to be the next thing for physical media. I don't think it will. Taking my shoes off because my feet are killing. The notification. To be honest, Johnny, this is just a test. This was a test for using StreamYards, and it's going well. Do you like that? It's not purple today. Let me see if I can change it. Poof, poof, poof. No, I can't. There we go. It's green. Let's have the spooky green. There's the purple. Put it back on the yellow. Yeah, you can see the detail on most rocks, small rocks in that film. Like, what films would I love to see in 8K if it was possible? Days of Heaven by Terrence Malick. The only reason I want to see that is because that film is shot with all natural light on 35mm film, and it looks gorgeous. But then it's a Terrence Malick film, so it's going to look gorgeous because it's Terrence Malick. The green light makes it look like a David Fincher joint. Yeah, David Fincher in the 90s. It's got that. Let me put the green back on. It's got that Fight Club color. Yeah, it's that one. It's the Fight Club color. I had to ban someone earlier. That was weird. For spamming pedo. What a dick. What else would I like to see in 70mm or in 8K? Tim Burton's Batman and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Yes, but I don't class it as a horror film. I class it as a police procedural, not as a horror film. Same way as I wouldn't class. What was the other one that came out around the same time? I don't know. It's an odd one. It's an odd one to categorize. Like, I don't think of it as a horror film, even though it's a it's got like horror elements in it. But yeah, as Smog says, I put it as a crime thriller, along the same lines as Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider and 8mm, those type of films. But yeah, I wouldn't class it as a horror film. Again, that's another film that I wouldn't class as a horror film. What's in the box? What's in the box? Yeah, Silence of the Lambs is, again, it's a thriller that has some horror elements in it, but not enough to class it as a horror film. Same as Hannibal, same as Red Dragon, same as Manhunter. They are crime thrillers that have some horror elements in it. It's difficult to really categorize some films when they're mostly one genre but have like things from another genre in it. It's like when I did the 70s video the other day and I pulled out Race with the Devil, and it's an action film that has horror in it. So it's like an action horror film from the 1970s that, like, that genre doesn't really exist. Well, never really existed at that point. Or it's a chase thriller that happens to have horror elements in it. So it's like really difficult to pinpoint what genre certain films are in. Like, again, another 70s movie that is difficult to kind of categorize as one specific thing would be The Godfather. So is it a drama? Is it a gangster movie? Is it a crime thriller? Is it a period drama? What is it? I know it's technically a crime epic, but there's so many different elements of different genres in the Godfather movie that what is it specifically categorized as? I know it's categorized as a classic now. I say that. I don't know why I'm doing the quote. Like, oh, it's classic. It is classic. Like, it's... Yeah, it is, John. That's what I mean. That's why I mentioned it in the 70s video. I really enjoyed Race with the Devil, but it's a chase movie that has horror moments in it, but it's like half action, half horror. So it works as an action horror film. Same as you get like The Evil Dead 2 is a comedy horror film. Probably from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, they become horror comedies. I don't think anyone was able to categorize Megalopolis. I don't think anyone wanted to, because it's such an oddity in the world of cinema. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it because it is a Coppola movie and probably his last film. But yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best of the series. That is the one with set in the children's like mental asylum place. The one with Patricia Arquette. Dream Warriors? Is it the Dream Warriors? I think it is. I would say Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is the best in the series, but Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best of the sequels, and then Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It was Chuck Russell who directed Chuck Russell wrote it. Don't think he directed it. I think he wrote it, but I think it was directed by Rachel Talalay, possibly. I'm going to Google this because, well, I'm going to IMDb it because I think it was written by him. It was written by Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont. He might have actually directed it. I'm not 100% sure. Well, so Chuck Russell looks very much like Frank Darabont. Oh, no, he did direct it. Sorry, I was wrong. Yeah, he directed it, and it was written by Frank Darabont and Chuck Russell and Bruce Wagner and Wes Craven. So Wes Craven still had a hand in Nightmare on Elm Street. Ooh, Vostress. Yeah. See, I've had this thought about The Terminator maybe being a horror film because it is essentially a slasher film in a way, because of how the actual Terminator moves and his determination and stuff. But then again, it's got so much sci-fi action in it that I don't think it could be classed as a horror film. Same as Aliens. I don't think Aliens can be classed as a horror film, even though it has horror elements in it. It is essentially a combat movie. It's a Vietnam War movie set in space. But yeah, I don't think the Terminator could be put as a horror film. I think sci-fi action is probably its genre, or its subgenre. It would technically be under sci-fi. It is a funny one to pinpoint because there are a lot of things in it that you would think would be horror, but kind of overshadowed by all the other genre aspects. Shane, I haven't seen it yet, mate. I had it. It was on Shudder, and I cancelled Shudder because I never watched it. So I haven't got around to watching it yet. But I know that it's taken him a long time to do. In between supervising dinosaurs and arachnids from Clendathu, I know he took a long time to do it. Pizza Rat and Beck Neptune. Hello. How's it going, y'all? Matt, he was. Yeah. Hey, Bryce. Yeah, he's got his mindset on Avatar now. I don't think we're going to see anything other than Avatar movies from Cameron now. I mean, the guy's in his 70s. I have seen Juan of the Dead, and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of post Shaun of the Dead horror comedy, zombie comedies from everywhere that came out between like 2004 and 2012, I think it was. Juan of the Dead was one of the better ones. There was one called Torquato, or Evil Torquato, which was from Greece. I think it was Greece. Yeah, I think it was Greece, which was another quite low budget zombie film. You've got, what else is there? Boy Eats Girl, which was an Irish comedy zombie film. Yeah, there was a lot. There was Rambok, which was, I think, was German. And The Night Eats the Day, I think it was called. He was making sequels to Blue People. I am a fan of Hitchcock, John. Yes. Do you have a favorite of his films? I do. It's The Birds. I love The Birds. And then my second favorite Hitchcock movie is North by Northwest, because it's one of the greatest suspense films of all time. What else do I like? Let's think. Hitchcock movies. Yeah, the Avatar films keep raking in over $2 billion. It's because you should always bet on Cameron. James Cameron knows exactly what he's doing. And the only reason the first one made over $1 billion was because the ticket prices were so ridiculously expensive, because it was 3D. But then it doesn't make sense for the second one. Considering they were 9 years apart or 10 years apart. Rear Window is very good. Rope as well with James Stewart. That's a really cleverly done film. I think it was made of multiple cuts, but it's done to look like once and like seamless movie, because every time they went past a cupboard at the front, they would, like, Hitchcock would cut but then keep the shot where it was, and then for the next take they would carry on. Yeah, that's what I literally smoked. That's what I was just saying. That's fair. I mean, I saw Avatar 2 for the first time on Disney Plus. And then I enjoyed it, so I picked up 4K and enjoyed it. The man, is it The Man Who Knew Too Much? With Doris Day and James Stewart, where she sings K Sarah Sarah. That was pretty good. I wasn't overly fussed on the later films that Hitchcock did, like is it Family Plot and the last one? I can't remember what the last one. I've got the Hitchcock box set somewhere. I like the earlier ones with, what was the one with Henry Fonda? I Confess or something like that. Early favorite Hitchcock film, Lifeboat, I think. Lifeboat's very good. Strangers on a Train is a great film, but I think Lifeboat is probably my favorite of the earliest Hitchcock films. Dancing with Smith, just never got out of my head with Avatar. It's if you think of the film Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, the animated film from the 90s, yeah, it's exactly the same plot. Rebecca's very good. The Wrong Man, that's the one. I've got that on DVD as well. Yeah. So yeah, my favorite Hitchcock film, my favorite early Hitchcock films would be Lifeboat, then North by Northwest, because Cary Grant's so good in that film, and then The Birds with and like Rod Taylor. Rod Taylor is just such a badass in that, in The Time Machine, and in Dark of the Sun. Rod Taylor, yeah. Family Plot was his last film. Yes. What was the one he did before that? I can't even remember. Frantic or something like that? Was it not Frantic? Where's my Hitchcock box set? I think my Hitchcock box set is currently in storage. Frenzy. I was thinking Frantic, but Frantic is a Roman Polanski movie. It's not a very long filmography, but Kubrick's stuff is very, very good. Like very good. Even his early stuff from Killer's Kiss, the Killing is one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick movies. And then like Lolita and Spartacus, and not Spartacus, yeah, Spartacus, because he did Spartacus. Up through like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, and The Shining. What was the other one? Full Metal Jacket, and then obviously the last one being Eyes Wide Shut, which I think is probably, that's not the film you'd expect him to go out on. It's a very Kubricky film, but it wasn't the legacy film that you would expect someone like Stanley Kubrick to have as his final film. Yes, it is very reminiscent of a James Bond movie. Yeah, Lady Vanishes is pretty good. Rear Window is good. What else is there? Psycho. I don't know why it is what it is with Psycho, but I've never been a huge fan of it. I think it's a very well made film. I think it's very well acted, but for some reason I just can't get into it. I haven't seen Fear and Desire, but I've seen the film he did after that, which is the World War One film. I think it's with Kirk Douglas, and I cannot remember the title. Dial M for Murder is great. Dial M for Murder is a great thriller. Shit, what was the name of the Paths of Glory or something? Paths of War. Paths of Glory, yeah. That was his fourth film. So it would have been Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss. Then there was another one. Then The Killing. Oh, no, it would have been, yeah. So it would have been Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss, The Killing, and then Paths of Glory. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Smog, I just saw you wrote that. I was trying to work that out. But I love The Killing. I think The Killing's a great heist movie. It's clearly like followed along the same lines as the Asphalt Jungle and the like movies of that period, the 40s noir crime thrillers and stuff. I love how like Spartacus is this huge Hollywood epic that you just don't like. You don't think of Kubrick as being the director of this huge Hollywood epic. It's kind of like a Ridley Scott movie, but from 1961 or 1959 or whatever it is. After like Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss, The Killing, and Paths of Glory, and then you've got this huge like historical epic on a massive scale. It did, yes, it did. There's a few things that inspired Reservoir Dogs. A few films would be The Killing and a film called City on Fire from Hong Kong, which starred Chow Yun-fat, which is a very good film, and multiple other like crime thrillers and films, specifically French films from the like 60s and 70s, like Le Cercle Rouge and what was the other one? Rafifi. Oh, Ben-Hur is a good choice for the 8K choice. That would look incredible. I'm not surprised he didn't have full creative control over it because he hadn't really managed anything on that scale before. He did want to make a Napoleon movie. Yeah, you are correct. I think it was the film he was going to make. Which one was it? I think he wanted to make it in the late 70s, the early 80s, but ended up doing The Shining instead. And then Full Metal Jacket. But he wanted to do it. I think it was his plan to do it after Eyes Wide Shut, but obviously he passed away. And then obviously Ridley Scott went and did his Napoleon movie, which massively tanked because it was quite boring from what I heard. I like the fact that he was working on AI at the time of his passing, and that Spielberg decided to essentially make that film in honor of Kubrick, which is a really, really nice gesture. But I don't know how much of Kubrick's original script existed, because the ending is very, very much a Spielberg ending. Robert Wise is a fantastic filmmaker. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he actually did. Robert Wise had his hand in everything. If you think of the stuff that he's done, from like the early stuff and to like West Side Story, and then all the way up to the Star Trek the motion picture, like the amount of varied projects and genres and stuff that he has worked in is insane. Let me get a drink. Had to get some water. Yeah, but Robert Wise is a favorite of mine. There's a lot of great directors from that era, though. Yeah, I really enjoy it as well. It is massively underrated. But it makes me wonder how much of it was Kubrick and how much of it was Spielberg, because it's very Spielberg. It's whether or not it was just the notes and Kubrick started the script. I don't know. Smaug, thank you very much for coming, mate. Have a good one, buddy. God, my mouth is going. My throat's getting really dry. But yeah, so it just makes me wonder how much of AI is actually Spielberg as opposed to how much was Kubrick. I have. I own it on DVD. It's somewhere. I think it's in one of the bags. It is a very good film. I actually prefer the James Mangold version with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, but it's still a very good film. I don't know. I think it's because it's a bit more action-packed in the remake than in the original, but it's still good. Like, don't get me wrong, I love westerns, though. I love westerns. Like, some of my favorite westerns are, let's see. Well, if we're going back a bit to classic-y westerns, the Sons of Katie Elder, The Searchers. Holy shit, that film is good. The Cowboys. I'm just thinking of John Wayne movies now. The Cowboys, which is more of a 70s one than an earlier western. Springfield Rifle. What's the shit? I can't remember the one. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I said that, didn't I? And the Sons of Katie Elder. What's the name of the western? I think it is Springfield Rifle, where the rifle is stolen. How the West Was Won. Holy shit. See that film? If we were going back to talking about 8K choices, watching How the West Was Won in 70mm on an 8K like CinemaScope Cinerama screen would be incredible. And then later westerns, I like. What do I like western wise? So I like the Sergio Leone westerns. I like the Clint Eastwood stuff, the Dollars trilogy. Although my favorite of the Dollars trilogy is For a Fistful of Dollars. And my favorite in general Clint Eastwood western is from that period, not the later period, is High Plains Drifter. Then what else is there? from the 80s. Winchester 73. That's what I was thinking of. Later westerns from the westerns from the 80s. What would be my favorite western from the 80s? Probably Silverado. And then Unforgiven. Probably Unforgiven is the best western ever made. I don't know if Searchers is available on 4K. John, I shall check now. The Searchers 4K. 4K release date. It's the Searchers is getting released on 4K on the 17th of December. The Lonesome Dove miniseries. Pale Rider 1985. I'm not fussed on Pale Rider. I tried to watch it the other day, and it's not one that I can really get into. Anyway, it's just a remake of High Plains Drifter, set instead of in a desert town, it's in a mountain town. Hi, Anthony. Yeah, I like Sabata. I think I've got Return of Sabata somewhere. I did have I still got it? I've got the complete Sartana as well. Another really good one is Spaghetti Westerns. They Call Me Nobody, or My Name Is Nobody, with Terence Hill and Henry Fonda. Is what a remake of Shane? Pale Rider or Sabata? Oh, The Magnificent Seven as well is another favourite. I think there's a lot of films that are classed as remakes of Shane these days. No, Pale Rider is essentially it's a remake of High Plains Drifter, which I think is essentially a remake of Shane. So you might be correct there. It was an adaptation of the same story as Shane. I watched Once Upon a Time in the West literally 3 days ago. It's a great movie. Yeah. Never watched Deadwood with Ian McShane. It did get a lot of acclaim, and yeah, it seemed to be quite popular at the time. A Fistful of Daters? Is that a Star Trek joke? That should be an episode of Star Trek, Fistful of Daters, unless there was an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation called Fistful of Daters. Also, hello, Rakido. Or Rakido. Right, what are we? Right, guys, I'm gonna call it a night because my throat is dry as hell. And I've been live for an hour and a half, which is the longest I think I've done. Because I started this, like I said, this was just a test, and this has been really, really good. 22 people viewing. So anyone who came in late, sorry that it's ending so quickly, but everyone who joined at the beginning, thank you all very much. Anthony, check out Open Range. It's great, mate. It's got a fantastic gunfight at the end. Thanks, Matthew. Matthew, thank you for staying the entire time I've been here, bud. Cheers. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. The Streamlabs or the StreamYard stream seems to have worked fantastic, and hopefully I can get more people on. Fun talking to you too, the Ruditify. Pleasure as always, John. Fun to talk to you. You have an amazing encyclopedic knowledge. Thank you very much. Thanks, Shane. Johnny, night all. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. Peace. I'm out.